You think Halloween is about American candy and plastic skeletons. You're wrong. Before that, Britain had its own secret traditions, darker, stranger, and baked in our own kitchens. Today, we're uncovering 15 forgotten treats that tell the real story of Halloween, from fortune-telling cakes to biscuits that were literally payment for prayers. Number 1. Soul cakes. Poor people went door to door on All Souls' Night. Wealthy households gave them spiced cakes. One cake equaled one prayer for the dead. This is called souling, and it's the actual origin of trick-or-treating. The cakes? Think shortbread with nutmeg, allspice, currants pressed on top in a cross shape. Simple, but the ritual was massive. Entire communities exchanging food for spiritual labor. They disappeared when organized religion's grip loosened and Halloween commercialized. The prayer for cake economy collapsed. No one's offering prayers for biscuits anymore. Soul cake set the template for everything that followed. Number 2. Toffee apples. Toffee apples were the centerpiece of British Halloween for working class families. Late October, apples everywhere from harvest, sugar's affordable, and someone figured out you could make cheap fruit feel like luxury. You boil sugar, golden syrup, butter, and vinegar to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, hard crack stage. Skewer your apple, dip, twist, let it set. The toffee shatters when you bite, then you hit the tart apple. That contrast drove kids mental. Toffee apples represented DIY celebration. Your mum could make Halloween special for pennies. Compare that to today's £30 on imported candy. We traded craft for convenience. They died because they're genuinely dangerous for small kids. Choking hazard, hard toffee. Food safety regulations killed them in schools. But that doesn't explain why we stopped making them at home. Number 3. Parkin cake. Parkin's a dense, sticky ginger cake made with oats and treacle, tied to bonfire night and Halloween since the 1700s. The weird thing? It gets better if you leave it for a week. The treacle soaks through, becomes incredibly sticky and spicy. You melt butter, black treacle, golden syrup together. Mix in oatmeal, flour, ground ginger. Bake low and slow. The top cracks, looks almost burnt, but underneath, it's pure comfort. You'd eat it with bonfire while watching Guy Fawkes burn. Parkin represented northern working class traditions, completely separate from southern England. Different regions, different treats. We've lost that regional diversity now. It's one homogenized Halloween. It vanished because it's not photogenic. Brown, dense, looks like a failed brownie. Instagram killed Parkin. Number 4. Treacle Toffee. Treacle Toffee, also called bonfire toffee. This stuff was hard. Victorian dentists made their living off this. Black treacle, sugar, butter, vinegar, basically toffee apple base, but you pour it into trays, let it set, then smash it with a hammer. Yeah, hammer. Kids would suck on chunks during Halloween and it'd last for ages because it was crystallized sugar welded to your molars. Making treacle toffee was genuine skill. You're cooking sugar to specific temperatures for different textures. Mothers taught daughters, entire afternoons hovering over pots. This was communal. You'd make massive batches because everyone in the neighborhood expected it. It died because processed candy became cheaper and safer. Kids lost teeth to this stuff. But we could have evolved it instead of abandoning it. Number 5. Barmbrack. Barmbrack's Irish but crossed to British Halloween traditions. It's yeasted fruit, bread, raisins and sultanas soaked overnight in cold tea, sometimes whiskey. Here's the witchy bit. You'd bake objects into it. A ring meant marriage within the year. A coin meant wealth. A piece of rag meant poverty. A stick meant unhappy marriage. Brutal. You'd slice it at Halloween parties and whoever got which object would be revealed. Imagine the drama. Some girl gets the marriage stick. Everyone knows her engagement's doomed. Making it. Soak fruit in tea overnight. Mix with flour, sugar, mixed spice, egg, baking powder. Fold in your fortunes wrapped in parchment so no one chokes. Bake until golden. Serve sliced with butter. This was Halloween divination through baking. We've completely lost fortune-telling traditions. Now we just eat candy and watch horror films. Where's the mystery? It disappeared because baking objects into food became a liability nightmare, and we stopped believing in folk magic. We're too rational now, too safe. Number 6. Apple dumplings. Apple dumplings were autumn poverty food that became Halloween celebration food. Take an apple, core it, stuff with butter, sugar, raisins, cinnamon, wrap the entire apple in pastry. Bake until the pastry's golden and the apples collapsed into sweet pudding inside. They're brilliant because one apple feeds one person perfectly portioned. At Halloween parties you'd make dozens, hand them out still warm. Kids would burn their hands, not caring. Ultimate resourcefulness. Apples falling off trees in October, basic pastry, and you've made something generous and special. That's the mindset we've lost. We want food to be impressive, expensive looking, Instagrammable. They vanished because they're labor-intensive and the individual portion thing feels quaint. We want sharing platters now. Wrapping individual apples seems fussy. Number 7. Apple Charlotte. Apple Charlotte's Victorian middle class trying to be sophisticated. You line a mold with buttered bread slices, fill with spiced stewed apples, top with more bread, bake until crispy outside and collapsed pudding inside. Turn it out like a cake. Named after Queen Charlotte, which tells you about its aspirations. This wasn't peasant food, this was demonstrating you had an oven, butter, and time. Your bread needs to be day-old, sliced thin, arranged in overlapping patterns. Apples cooked down with sugar and lemon until thick. Assembly matters. It's fiddly. Apple Charlotte represents class anxiety in British Halloween food. Upper classes wanted their own version of harvest traditions, but elevated. We've lost that entire tier of middle-class Halloween entertaining. It died because it's time-consuming for apple and bread, and we stopped having formal Halloween dinners. Halloween became for children, and you're not making this for children. Number 8. Roasted chestnuts. Roasted chestnuts used to be everywhere at Halloween and bonfire night. Street vendors with braziers, smoke rising, that sweet nutty smell cutting through autumn cold. You'd buy them in paper cones, juggle them because they're searingly hot, crack the shells. The flesh inside would be sweet, almost creamy. Score an X on the flat side of each chestnut, roast in very hot oven or over flames for 20 minutes. They'll split at the X. Peel while hot, eat immediately or they go rubbery. Chestnuts represent street food culture we've lost. Halloween used to happen outdoors, bonfires, public gatherings, wandering between neighbours. Now it's indoor parties and doorstep candy grabbing. We've domesticated everything. They disappeared because chestnut trees got decimated by disease, imports are expensive, and most British people under 40 have never prepared a chestnut. The knowledge gap is real. Number 9. Bonfire potatoes. Bonfire potatoes. Just potatoes baked in bonfire coals. You'd wrap them in wet newspaper, then foil, bury them in the edges of the Halloween fire. Half-hour later, fish them out with a stick, unwrap, split open. The insides would be fluffy and smoky. Add butter and salt. That's it. Peak British celebration, take the cheapest ingredient. Apply fire. The smoky flavour from wood, slightly charred skin, fluffy interior steaming in cold night air. Perfection. Bonfire potatoes represent outdoor celebration and communal fires. When we moved Halloween indoors, when health and safety killed neighbourhood bonfires, we lost the entire context. You can't recreate bonfire potatoes in your kitchen, you need the actual ritual. They vanished because we stopped having bonfires. Simple. We bubble-wrapped Halloween, made it safe, killed half the traditions. Number 10. Snap apple game. Snap apples, how you used apples at Halloween parties. You'd hang apples from strings at face height, hands behind your back. Try to bite them. Apples are round and swing away when you lunge. Everyone ends up soaked, laughing, looking ridiculous. The game is the treat. Tie string around stems, hang from a rod or washing line. Space them so people aren't headbutting each other. Adjust heights for different ages. This represents active participation. We've become passive consumers. We buy treats, we eat treats. Snap Apple made the food part of entertainment. You earned it. It disappeared for obvious reasons, health and safety nightmare. Everyone's drooling on shared apples, potential for injury. Also, we've professionalized children's entertainment. We want structured activities, not chaotic games where someone might get hurt. Number 11. Bobbing for apples. Bobbing for apples, also called apple ducking. Same as Snap Apple, but more chaotic. Fill a basin with cold water, float apples, try to grab one with your teeth. Your face goes underwater, you're snorting water up your nose, hair's soaked, you're freezing, everyone's screaming, and the prize is a wet apple. The genius is the absurdity. This shouldn't be fun. It's uncomfortable and undignified. But that's what made it perfect for Halloween, the one night you do ridiculous, slightly scary things. It's pre-Christian, Celtic divination. First person to catch an apple would be first to marry. Bobbing for apples is tradition we've kept barely. Some schools still do it, but it's sanitized individual cups, one apple per child, no actual bobbing. We kept the form, killed the spirit. It's dying because of hygiene panic. Everyone's mouth in the same water? Post-COVID, that's unthinkable. Number 12. Turnip lanterns. Turnip lanterns. Jack-o'-lanterns, but British. Americans used pumpkins because they grew massive pumpkins. We used turnips rock-hard, fist-sized root vegetables requiring serious knife skills to hollow out. You'd carve a face, stick a candle inside, and the smell of burning turnip would haunt your nightmares. Acrid, earthy, slightly rotten. Carving was genuinely difficult. Turnips don't have a convenient cavity like pumpkins. You had to dig and scrape with a spoon, and people regularly sliced their hands. The faces were grimmer, too less jolly, more genuinely frightening. Turnip lanterns represent authentic British Halloween before American influence. We had our own thing, darker, harder, more visceral. The switch over to pumpkins happened in the 80s and 90s. They disappeared because pumpkins are objectively easier, less dangerous, last longer. Also, they're orange and friendly looking. We chose convenience over tradition. Number 13. Treacle scones. Treacle scones straddled everyday baking and Halloween special. Regular scone recipe, but you'd add black treacle to the dough makes them dark, sticky, with deep molasses flavour. You'd serve them at Halloween teas with butter, substantial enough to be actual food. Rub butter into flour, add sugar, big spoonful of black treacle, milk to bind. Pat out, cut into rounds, bake hot and fast. They come out dark and risen with crispy edges. This is about Halloween happening at tea time, not just evening. We forget Halloween used to be all-day afternoon teas, evening parties, midnight divination. Now it's a couple hours of trick-or-treating. They vanished because they're not special enough for modern Halloween. We want theatrical, impressive, obviously Halloween-themed. Dark scones don't cut it when you can buy skull-shaped cookies at Tesco. Number 14. Colcannon. Colcannon. Mashed potatoes with cabbage or kale, butter, milk, sometimes leeks. Irish but became British Halloween tradition. It's savoury, which breaks everything we think about Halloween food now. Traditionally, you'd eat a proper meal before treats and games started. Colcannon was that meal, cheap, filling, seasonal. You'd hide a ring or coins in it, same divination thing as barmbrack. You'd also make a well in the centre and fill it with melting butter. We've completely separated Halloween from actual meals. It's become candy-based. The idea of sitting down to mashed potatoes and cabbage on Halloween seems insane now, but that used to be the foundation. It disappeared because we stopped treating Halloween as a feast day. It became a children's event, and children don't want cabbage. We carved out the substance, kept only the sugar. Number 15. Honeycomb toffee. Last one, honeycomb toffee, also called cinder toffee or hokey pokey. This is where baking becomes science. You heat sugar and golden syrup to hard crack, then add bicarbonate of soda. It foams up violently, full of bubbles. Pour it out, let it set, and you've got light, crispy, honeycomb-structured toffee that shatters like glass. Making it genuinely exciting, the bicarb reaction is dramatic, educational, slightly dangerous. Kids would watch with massive eyes as the mixture erupted. Then you'd smash the set toffee with a hammer and divide it up. You need precise temperature control, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, quick stirring when you add bicarb, immediate pouring. Timing is everything. Mess it up and you've got burnt sugar or flat toffee. Honeycomb represents the last gasp of homemade Halloween chemistry. We used to make explosively expanding toffee in our kitchens. Now we buy crunchy bars. We've outsourced the magic. It disappeared because it's finicky, burns easily, and the foam up terrifies modern parents. But you can still make it. It's actually the most accessible recipe on this list if you're careful. So, there you have it. 15 traditions. From prayer-fueled cakes to bonfire-forged potatoes, all vanished. If you enjoyed uncovering these forgotten histories, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the traditions we've lost.